Hello, welcome to the Pagoda Smart Farm. We are here. This is part of it. We have a fish pond here. We'll explain why we started with a fish pond. I also mentioned while I was introducing the Pagoda Smart Farm, I mentioned that we focus on discovering problems, learning about those problems, and developing innovations for those problems. I mentioned that in this area, one of the challenges we face is related to artisanal and small-scale mining. People are migrating from farming to mining. So we want to solve that problem. And we want to solve part of that problem by focusing on developing or designing fish ponds. But what is the problem? Why do we have to design fish ponds when it is about mining? We will go the other side of the fish pond. If you see all the way up there, there is a water tank. We'll explain why we have a water tank there and why we need to filter water for us to have healthy fish. So part of the solution that we are coming up with is therefore to train people to understand that the water that is in excess from digging mine pits can be used for something else instead of the water going to waste. And our approach is therefore to design small-scale fish ponds which measures 15 by 13 or by 10 meters. And such a fish pond is able to keep between 2,000 to 3,000 fish. Now, according to our operations research model, if you keep about 2,000 fish, a farmer having such a size of a fish pond can make at least 350,000 Kenya shillings in terms of profit every year after you rear the fish for at least 10 months. So it's between 10 months to 12 months. But because here we are not near a river, we have to design a solution that takes into account that you are not next to the river. How can we ensure that the water remains fresh, the water is oxygenated, so that what we have is fish that is healthy for human consumption? So that is the idea behind this fish pond. I would like now to take you to where we have the water tank, where we are filtering the water for the fish. And also next to the water tank is a mine pit. So the owner of this land, a widow, was looking for gold, and we found small specks of gold called Nyerere in Kijaluo. The Luo language is an Nilotic language. You find most of those who are talking the Luo language are both in Eastern and Central Africa. But in this area we are also mixed. There are also Kisis as well as Luos. Now the owner of this land therefore provided this land to be used by the Pagoda Smart Farm so that we can demonstrate to people that even if the size of the farm is small, you can still make that land to be profitable to you, to empower those who need it most. So when we talk about widows, we know that they need empowerment. And having such partnerships, for example, Be4Life.Institute partnering with widows to develop fish ponds that is able to generate for them income of at least 350,000 Kenya shillings every year. So welcome. We'll now be moving to the tank to explain more the design around the Pagoda Smart Farm. So welcome. Welcome back. My name is Nixon Muganda of the Be4Life.Institute. We are now at the Pagoda Smart Farm. We are building a fish pond here, but first of all we started with a mine pit. So in this area of Bogusero, we practice artisanal and small-scale mining. There may be a lot of gold in this area, so there is a lot of mine pits that you find being dug in this area. However, one of the biggest bottlenecks is water. So the water table is very high, so we are able to reach the water quickly, and a lot of the water is wasted. We say that in this farm, we don't want to waste any water. You can do your mining, use the water by rearing fish. That's why we have a mine pit here and a fish pond here. But because we are not near a river, we also need a filter, a water filter, so that sometimes when people talk about fish ponds, there's always an outflow from the fish pond. Here we don't have it. We'll have to use a tank to be able to filter the water so that the fish will have clean water. We have already, in this mine pit, we have already reached the water, and we have already pumped some of the water into this tank. And probably I'm just going to just open the tank so that you see how the water is flowing. We need to be able to make sure that the water is enough to be able to keep at least 2,000 fish, fingerlings in this fish pond. I'm just going to move back to open the tank, the tap, so that we are able to see the flow of water as I continue to explain the concept behind the Pagoda Smart Farm. All right, so we are next to the mine pit. It's about 40 feet, but in mining sometimes you may find that they go 100 feet and even 300 feet across. We have not gone there yet, but we are indicating that as they dig down, they get water. This is the water that you see we have pumped here. However, we need to filter the water, we need to clean the water. So we are using a basic biological filter. In this biological filter, you will find that we have put some materials, for example, rocks or stones of this size right at the bottom, followed by a different size, a bigger size of gravel, a smaller size of gravel, followed by sand, again, and then followed by soil, just the topsoil that can be used for gardening. So it's a pure biological filter. There is no artificial ways of cleaning this water. And so the water that eventually comes out through the white pipe, once it is filtered, is clean for the fish. Now, next to it, we also have a tank. We want to call that tank an overflow tank. For instance, when we want to clean the fish pond, we have to transfer the water by pumping the water out into the outflow tank that has been built the other side. We may also want to be able to get rid of pests such as frogs that interfere with the normal growth of fish. So for example, we had to move the water from the fish pond to the outflow tank so that we get rid of the frogs, and eventually we'll pump the water back into this fish pond, including the water that is coming from the mine pit. And so during the course of next week, or within the next 2 weeks, we should now put fish here, and we'll keep you updated on the progress of the growth of the fish. We'll put fingerlings in these fish ponds, which is about 1 month old, and we have to take care of them for at least 10 months so that they are ready to be taken to the market, to be sold to the market. Now, we intend to make this farm to also be a market so that people can come and buy the fish from here. We have put up a blackboard there where we'll be keeping track of what is happening in this farm, and also the community members can see what is done in terms of fish farming that takes place here. I'm just going to stand up as we move across now to the other side. We are going to show you some of the ore that was removed from the mine pit. We suspect that ore may have some gold specks. So maybe if there's a high percentage of gold specks in the ore that is spread out there to dry before crushing, we may change our minds and mine the gold rather than fish. But we may have to migrate the fish pond to another location. I'm going to turn off the water because we have demonstrated this water has come from the mine pit. It can be cleaned back to the pond so that it is healthy for the fish and therefore good for human consumption.